Northwestern is a community of learners situated within a network of historical and contemporary relationships with Native American tribes, communities, parents, students, and alumni. Northwestern strives to build relationships with Native American communities through various avenues, including academic pursuits, partnerships, historical recognitions, community service, and enrollment efforts. At Northwestern, we seek to create spaces where Native American and Indigenous students can be heard, who they are is honored, and they can be both a successful student as well as a good tribal and community citizen. The 2016-17 academic year proved to be an eventful year, continuing the work of the Native American Outreach and Inclusion Task Force and the Native American Inclusion Initiative. This past year, we've pushed forward many of the task force recommendations. While we still have a long road ahead of us, we would like to take this time to share some highlights from the past year. In June of 2016, Northwestern created the Native American and Indigenous Peoples Steering Committee, a group consisting of 37 students, faculty, staff, and community members to support projects and programming that work to increase campus-wide interest and understanding of Native topics and issues. A Native American and Indigenous Peoples website was launched in September of 2016. It's a standalone site acting as a central location for events, institutional history, timeline, news updates, resources, and contact information for any Native-related programs at Northwestern. In November of 2016, the Native American Leadership Council visited Northwestern, charged with providing insight and counsel of our Native American Inclusion Initiative. During their visit, they met with key staff and faculty across campus to provide guidance on a wide range of topics, including outreach, admission, research, teaching, and student affairs. This past year, a cluster of new faculty hires were made as part of the Indigenous Studies Research Initiative. Collectively, with existing faculty, they will also assist in building a critical mass of scholars working in the field of Indigenous studies and help Northwestern students understand that Native issues are still relevant. These faculty members taught courses this year on various Indigenous studies topics, such as Native American health and environmental decision-making this fall. Winter quarter included topics such as the ethnobiology of maple syrup and eating the other in America. Spring quarter classes included development of American Indian law and policy, and media history and Native American experiences. This past year, Northwestern students taking these courses had the opportunity to interview members of the Chicago Native community, visit the Oneida and Menominee reservations in Wisconsin, as well as historical sites around Chicago, and tap maple trees right here on campus. In the fall of 2015, Dean Adrian Randolph announced the Indigenous Studies Research Initiative, and in December of 2016, Northwestern University received a $1.5 million grant from the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation to support the establishment of a research center on the Evanston campus. The center will foster an environment that produces new knowledge that is both cutting edge in the field of Indigenous research and issues and attentive to the concerns of local and regional Native American communities. It will offer faculty, undergraduate, and graduate research fellowships, visiting scholars and artists, collaborative projects, and academic and administrative infrastructure. During winter quarter, the Colloquium on Indigeneity and Native American Studies hosted the short-term residency of Maori poet Robert Sullivan, who joined Northwestern during the months of January and February. During his stay, Sullivan held a poetry reading, attended graduate student working groups, and held lectures on campus. Recently funded by the Buffett Institute for 2017-18 academic year, the Global Indigenous Studies Working Group was established as an interdisciplinary group of faculty, postdoc fellows, and graduate students who share an interest in studying and engaging Indigenous peoples and experiences of indigeneity on a global scale. The working group will build conversations, research, and partnerships around questions of indigeneity across the globe, focusing especially on issues of global environmental change, political sovereignty, and gendered violence. Members of the steering group are compiling intersectional artwork from local Native American and Cheyenne Arapaho artists to display in various locations around the Northwestern campuses, including the Women's Center, the Multicultural Center, and Norris University Center. Several campus galleries have also displayed temporary exhibits presenting Native artwork, including the Block Museum, Ditmar Gallery, and the Norris Galleria. The proposal for the construction of a garden dedicated to Native peoples of the Midwest was approved. This garden will serve as an outdoor classroom space and visual acknowledgement that the land on which Northwestern sits has always been and always will be Native land. Archive Chicago is a collaborative project between Northwestern and two Chicago organizations, the American Indian Association of Illinois and the American Indian Center, with the goal of creating spaces and practices for protecting materials that tell histories of Native American people and organizations in the Chicagoland area. In the fall of 2016, Native American and Indigenous students representing a variety of nations across the Big Ten Schools Network gathered together in order to discuss current issues and plan for how to make our universities a safe space now and for the next generations of Native students. Hosted by UW-Madison, data was gathered, stories were shared, and concerns were collected, along with potential solutions to addressing them that were delivered in a letter to each Chief Diversity Officer in the Big Ten Network. Recommendations were made on building partnerships with tribal colleges and universities that provide opportunities for cultural exchange, research partnerships, career pipelines, and service and volunteer work. Northwestern Alternative Student Breaks has visited the Cheyenne River Reservation twice in the last 5 years and participated in volunteer work. ASB will be leading a course in the fall quarter where students will explore topics like history and culture of the Lakota, settler colonialism in the U.S., laws, treaties, and more before visiting the site in the first week of their winter break. Through Norris mini courses, Cherokee language classes were taught all 3 quarters. Language lessons were interwoven with Cherokee philosophical thought throughout to help students formulate thoughts and ideas in Cherokee. Building off of last year's momentum with the Native-authored One Book, One Northwestern selection, we continued to host meaningful programs, workshops, and events throughout this year. Fall highlights include a welcome lunch for first-year students, the celebration of American Indian Day with storytelling, honoring Indigenous Peoples Day, various Native American Heritage Month programming, including commemorating the anniversary of the Sand Creek Massacre. Winter highlights include hosting artist Matika Wilbur to talk about her 562 project, facilitating a large community sewing circle with Seneca artist Marie Watt, a panel addressing the No Dapple movement, and an interactive workshop with Kiowa and Choctaw artist Stephen Paul Judd. Spring highlights include hosting an urban Indian education conference in partnership with the Chicago American Indian Community Collaborative, celebrating Earth Day by highlighting Indigenous science, and hosting this year's Medill Naja Milestone Achievement Award winner, Patty Telehongva, to speak to students in the Northwestern community on behalf of her lifetime of service and contributions to the field of journalism. And we still have a few events planned later this quarter, including an intercollegiate picnic with Native student orgs across Chicago along with community organizations, the reception for the Oral History Project Medill students will be presenting, and a panel addressing mental health issues in the Native American community. Some major recognitions received this year include the Native American and Indigenous Student Alliance receiving an Eagle Feather when they participated in the 18th annual Sand Creek Massacre Spiritual Healing Run Walk. They participated in prayer, dance, and celebrated the heroes who rose during the massacre. The students were gifted an Eagle Feather for their continued work commemorating the massacre and holding Northwestern University accountable for its history. Also, through the National Association for Student Affairs Professionals, MSA's Assistant Director Alejandro Magana was appointed the National Chair for the Indigenous Peoples Knowledge Community. Assistant Director Jasmine Gurnall was also appointed the co-representative for the Region 4 East community. This past fall season, undergraduate admissions executed a travel schedule visiting tribal communities in the Midwest area to different schools, organizations, programs, and events in rural, urban, and reservation communities across 5 states. In addition, Northwestern has joined national organizations such as College Horizons and the American Indian Science and Engineering Society. The summer of 2016, undergraduate admissions sponsored a group of 15 high school students through the American Indian Center's Teen Chicago Native Sustainability Project to attend a day-long program at Northwestern. The group spent a day on campus, participating in a guided campus tour with an ecological emphasis, engaged in STEM activities, received information about campus resources, connected with current students, and learned about the admissions application process. We also visited Chicago Public Schools' Indian Education Spring Break program to talk about what college life is like, and had a card-making activity where young students decorated motivational cards to send to current Native college students. Partnerships and collaborations with Native American communities through different avenues are vital to our success and help us to support and deepen our understanding of Native communities. This past year, Northwestern both established new and strengthened existing partnerships with a variety of Native American nations, institutions, and communities, particularly those in Chicago, around the Great Lakes, and those directly affected by the Sand Creek Massacre. We also owe our success to the following campus-wide partners who supported our efforts this past year. It's Northwestern's responsibility and goal to continue to broaden our knowledge of historical and contemporary relationships between the university and Native American tribes and communities, to gain an understanding of the need for Native American presence at Northwestern, and to ensure an infrastructure that provides them support, community, and purpose. We've had many successes this past year, working towards creating a positive and reaffirming campus culture for future Native students, faculty, and staff. We would like to thank each and every one of you who has dedicated time to promote and advance this important work, and we hope to have your continued partnership in our future efforts to ensure that we continue to progress towards our goals. Yawango, Wawanan.